Of course Akane is going to pick up on this. Of course Akane is going to pick up on this. There's a loophole here. Have you thought of, wait, should I say something? I love this because Akane, again, somebody that has actually studied psychology, she could read what Aqua's doing here. You were looking for a way out, which makes perfect sense. What we established this entire season is that Aqua can't be happy. He wants to be happy. He can't be let to be happy. And so it makes sense that when he sees that first sign of, yeah, everything's already kind of settled, he's going to want to jump out of it. Okay, I found my out. I found my freedom. I'm going to get out of it. But Akane's like, but wait, did you question? Oh, wait, should I say anything? I love that conflict. She's thinking about, okay, I should let him be happy. If he wants to be happy, that's fine. But I also want to help him get his revenge. I seen how badly he wanted that revenge. So should I say something? Should I let him continue to be in this delusion that it's all settled? Or should I tell him and bring him right back into this miserable state of revenge? It is such a heart-wrenching decision that she has to make there. And I think in the end, what it's going to turn into is probably Akane deciding not to say anything, but then eventually getting to this point where it could go on an interesting route in the idea that Akane decides to pull him back into it because then she'll be useful to him again. Like if she realized at this point, because he's stepping away from her. Aqua's saying we're not in love. We were never in love. And he's walking away from her. And she could choose to go, well, I want to keep being useful to him. And if I lose him now, I'll never have him again. Okay, tell him this other side of it. Pull him back into that revenge state. Then I'll be useful to him again. It's a really troubling conundrum that she's in right now, where she can be extremely selfish or she can let him go. And that both sides are going to be hurtful. One side's going to be damaging to Aqua in a sense. But again, it'll let him fulfill his wish. Right now, he thinks that that wish has been fulfilled, but it's not. He's in a delusion. It's so good. Like, this episode's super good. I was actually curious because the whole segment where Akane realized it, that there's this loophole. It has this kind of visual representation, and I was like, I'm trying to figure out what it's trying to show here. I have my theory. My theory last episode was this idea that Aqua and Ruby's father, he actually impregnated Himikawa's mother. That Himikawa's father, the one that apparently died, was not his father. It's Aqua and Ruby's father who impregnated his mother. So he impregnated Himikawa's mother and I. And this guy that Himikawa believes is his father was never his father. That's my theory. And I think that's what Akane's picking up on. Wait, that's your half-brother, but that does not mean that's your father. It could mean that that's Himikawa's mother and I is your mother. That's the key thing there. And of course, with this episode, not that Aqua sees it, or Ruby technically passed him by, we finally get to see, or seemingly see, the actual father. So that was a big shock there. And again, fits the description. Dude's got blonde hair. That was the hanging point that I had for Himikawa's father, is that dude didn't have blonde hair. So it didn't make any sense there. But I was very curious as to if what Akane was picking up on was something that I wasn't really familiar with. And so I went and checked the manga. Very surprisingly, Kana's segment and Akane's segments are flipped in the manga. Actually, at the point where Aqua's talking to Kana about possibly breaking off with Akane, he literally says, yes, we had a discussion, but it got interrupted. And that was when Akane ran off. But it actually worked because, yeah, ending the episode with this big bomb of Akane going, should I say something, was much more impactful for that ending of the episode to kind of gut punch you just before the episode ends. So it was actually a really good choice thematically for an episode and adaptation. But anyhow, let's jump into the episode proper, opening up with, yes, Aqua being invited to go there, Kana going, oh, I guess I can help you. Sure, let's go on a date. Really cute little segment of Kana just flustered over what she wants to wear. I'm like, girl, you look good on anything. You're pulling off all those looks. Although, I wasn't expecting the lolly girly type. That was a definitely big surprise for me for Kana's character, at least, or at least her current self. But yeah, really cute segment. And again, this is where we get in that kind of question mark. I think this entire episode is really a question mark as to what Aqua thinks he wants to do for love. It's very so much about Aqua now not having this revenge goal, now finally being able to be happy, and now deciding, hey, I can now love somebody. I never thought that I could love somebody. But it is a question mark now that I realize that the manga has these two segments flipped. It does make me kind of think of this idea of Aqua going out of his way to cut things off with Kane, and then going out of his way to make Kana happy. I don't necessarily think this is the case. I think that he got these reservations and was making Kana happy in order to pay her back, because obviously she was going out of her way in order to help him with getting ready for this trip. But still, it does make you kind of question, in the wake of him cutting things off with Akane, it does seem like he's going out of his way in order to make Kana happy, that his current self right now wants to get with Kana. Or at least he might be testing those waters. Because he's been with Akane for a while now, and he's obviously seen that they're not in love, so he's finally able to let Akane go. But still, it was a cute little segment seeing him going around with Kana, doing things, going out of his way in order to help her, paying for the bill. I love how she's like, well, it's this day and age, gender equality, of course I'm going to pay for it. And then he steps up there and pays, and she's like, wait, he paid for it. Like, it's like almost like she wants to accept this idea of, chivalry's dead. But the moment that he pays for it, suddenly she's like super flustered, like, that easy, girl. She's just happy that this guy is willing to do that for her. It was really cute. But yeah, holding her bag, that's my style, going out there and getting something to eat. Wait, he's had a reservation. It was just super funny to kind of see her just constantly getting flustered. Wait, you're acting like a 30-year-old rich guy is actually a 30-year-old rich guy. Like in his previous life, he was a 30-year-old doctor and all that kind of stuff. It was cute. Just seeing him actually being pretty suave and kind of flustering up Kana and her not really realizing that he's really good at this stuff. But again, that makes sense. It's going to catch Kana off guard because Aqua up until this point has been very single focused on this one goal, and additionally not really connecting to people, not allowing himself to be happy, and not really kind of pleasing other people. So it's kind of a shock for her. So it was kind of cute to see that complete opposite side of him slowly kind of burrowing out of that hole. And yes, technically it makes sense that he's trying to figure out how to engage with people, because in his previous life he was just a dumb idol fan doctor that had no time of his own. Like, this guy had no free time. He wasn't seeking out romance in his previous life. So even in his new life, he's going to have to figure this stuff out. But yeah, it was cute. I love the whole date. But yes, Kana questioning the idea of, well, you're pleasing me. What about Akane? Did you give up on her? He's like, yeah, I really need to give her a final answer. And it is sad that it is turning into, when it goes into him going with Akane, it really is turning into, I need to cut this off. We need to have a chat. Well, at first it kind of turns into him, talking about her going with them on this vacation and that they need to talk. And she's like, you want to break up. Like, I know where you're leading. I know how you're easy to read kind of thing. Again, this girl knows psychology. She knows what the direction his wording is going into. And so she's like, I want you to tell me now. Yeah. Basically, we've never been in love. And it does kind of hurt in the idea that early on in the discussion, it does feel like almost like Akane wants to say, no, I've always been in love with you. Yes, yeah, I can acknowledge that you might not have always been in love with me. Yeah, it's always been fake. Our first kiss was on a TV show. We've never held hands. Of course, this romance is fake. It started off fake. It's always been fake. It's always been for the job. But I had an assumption that she was always going to have kind of this hook where she believes that she's in love with him, but it's going to be one of those sort of delusions that she thinks she's in love, but it's actually just sort of a complex where somebody has been saved and wants to repay that debt. He saved my life and I want to be with him forever. An obsession. Just going into the realms of this very unhealthy relationship where she's not actually in love with Aqua as a person. She doesn't know who he is. He's never opened up to anybody. How can you love him? But simply because you saved my life, I want to restore that. That's this delusion that she has that she's in love with him. It's a very unhealthy state of mind that she has, that she's willing to do anything for him because he saved my life. I'd be dead if it weren't for him. I'll do anything. Again, that scary thought process of somebody willing to kill somebody. But the fear was there back on that balcony before was, what happens when he decides that he doesn't like Akane and breaks up with her? She's got nothing. Her entire mind has been molded around Aqua because he saved her life. It's a very scary place for her to be. That's why everybody was like talking to me like, man, what do you think of Akane? She's so great, right? She's willing to kill for him. Like, I get that. Like, when you think of it in like the terms of like just the fandom and the waifu wars and all that kind of stuff, you're like, yeah, a girl that's willing to kill for you. She's willing to do anything for you. She wants your darkest secrets. But when you think of it in an actual grounded reality for an actual relationship, this is a very scary place that Akane's at. It's a very scary place. So I always kind of worried about, with Akazaka obviously taking the story very seriously, what direction that would go in when he eventually says, no, I don't actually love you. But she handled it much better than I thought she would. When they were going up on that bridge, I was like, holy crap. He's telling her that he doesn't love her. She knows it's coming. It's already been established. I'm like, don't let her up on that bridge. I'm like, please don't let her up on the bridge. She's going to jump again. Thankfully, Akane took it much better than I thought she did. And I like that she actually comes to a realization. He's like, but you don't love me either, right? And then she realized, do I? She questions it too. I'm happy that she's willing to even question her love for him. I'm glad that Akane has such a sound mind that she can separate romance and relationship and love with that admiration and that desire to repay him. She's willing to, in her mind at that moment, separate the two of them and admit that. Even though in admitting that, she's going to lose that connection to him and he's able to walk away from her successfully. It's very intriguing that that comes up. But again, it does kind of beg the question mark once he reveals what was going on, what he found out, and she realized there's this loophole that she can technically pull him back in. And will she pull him back in? Because at this point, with their relationship on that bridge, they've established the two of them aren't in love. And yes, there's a funny bit in there and really kind of realizing, I mean, does relationships need sex and kissing and all that kind of other stuff? What is a relationship to you? That's obviously a very good, important question. What is a relationship to you? Does it need this stuff? Is it simply the two of them enjoying their time together? Because Akane likes that. She's like, ever since the whole show, it's been great being with you because it's almost like that fun from the show continues on. And she kind of doesn't want to lose that. This has been fun for me. Is it a relationship? Probably not. Were we ever in love? Probably not. But she's just happy being at Aqua's side. She's just happy being there. That's enough for her. So of course you can question, does it require you to be in a relationship in order to be with him? No. Everything you're getting right now, Kana's getting the same stuff you're getting. You're just hanging out with each other. Just call him up sometime. Say, hey, you want to hang out? You don't need to be in a relationship. And so that is the question there. Again, very surprised how well Akane took that. And of course, she can break down in the next episode. Like the next time we see her when she's in her room, she could be breaking down. We don't know. I don't know at this point, but she did definitely take it much better than I thought she would. She didn't go nuts, and I was really afraid of her mindset that she would go nuts at the idea that Aqua wants to break up with her. I think she knew it was coming. I honestly think that she knew he's not really in love with me. I just want to support him. I want to help him with whatever he's doing. So very, very cool way of it kind of concluding. But man, Kana was ready to go to a love hotel with him. Yeah, Kana was ready to go to a love hotel with him. Damn, girl was like, oh wow, he's getting a taxi. Are we gonna go to a love hotel? What am I gonna do? And then it cuts over to her in a room and she's like, I had my hopes up. I'm like, Kana was ready to go. Aqua, dude, she wanted it. Like, she was ready for it. Damn. Which that's technically what kind of places the two of them together more in the conversation they had in this episode, this idea of the willingness to do that kind of stuff. But again, still, it's like, what is your definition of love? What is your definition of a relationship? Does it need this kind of stuff? It is interesting to see that Aqua was willing to say that, yes, I have desires. That is sort of an area that I kind of question at some point. Is this something that Aqua wants? I think I questioned it back when Ruby was talking about, or at least thinking about the idea of Aqua and Akane being out late every single day and that they would, do that. I'm like, yeah, it's a good question mark. Does Aqua have urges? Has he ever had urges in this point in his life? You think that a healthy boy is going to have that stuff, but is he so mentally disconnected in his goal? Would he ever think about that kind of stuff? He said, yes, I have urges. So yeah, it was very interesting. I also like the idea there is an acknowledgement on both sides, both from Akane's side and Aqua's side, that he was using her. That Akane is smart enough to really realize, I know you're cunning. I know you've been using this the whole time. Now that I'm no longer useful to you, you're discarding me. But there is kind of a nicety here that Aqua, upon breaking out of his sort of mindset of wanting to get this revenge, that he is acknowledging that he is dragging her along. That this is a girl that has a good future and everything. I'm tying her down. I need to let her go. She's going to make somebody happy, basically. I need to let her go. And again, on the opposite side, Akane recognizing, yeah, I know you've been using me. But again, she wanted to be used. I knew you were the... I never really thought about that. It never really disclosed that she knew that Aqua saved her, but I kind of assumed that she did. That is right here finally acknowledging that the person that grabbed me on that bridge, I knew it was you. I just assumed the two of them walked to the hospital together and she knew it was him. Like, I know that he did technically disguise himself. He had the hood on and everything like that, but I thought that it was kind of something everybody knew. But no, we did have like a brief scene with Ruby at the very end running into the supposedly the father. But yeah, it's interesting to see that she's like concerned that Aqua might actually, forget which that does technically make sense. I've kind of gotten into it a little bit, but I don't think I've gotten like in-depth look into it. But yes, it is quite cool how this series has always had the symbolisms that the characters are connected to in some way. I mean, when Akane finally took on the persona of she had the eyes of With Aqua and with Ruby, the assumption for the longest time has always been the star in their eye is sort of a thing that was given to them in birth, like it's a physical thing. But I always thought they were playing with the symbolisms by having the eye change color to like black whenever Aqua's going down this really dark path. But no, actually having in this last episode it completely disappear, it is showing that sign that he is finally detaching from and obviously Ruby still having that eye, it does show that she still has that connection. And yes, that makes sense for her because she's so dead set on fulfilling this dream for I that she's always going to have that. So until at some point down the line in the story, when you do have Ruby maybe possibly gives up on trying to seek out that dream, maybe she has a moment where she realizes, I'm not good enough, I'll never be like mom. Maybe that'll be the point where she finally loses it. That's the question mark. But it is kind of interesting to see that she still has that eye. She's sitting there, and she's also, again, afraid because Aqua's finally looking forward that he's given up on her. And again, she has that fear that she'll forget her mom, which does suck. And again, my assumption here is that, yeah, if Akane or somebody does mention to Aqua, you're missing a piece here, is that going to be the point where, boom, that eye's back? Like, suddenly Aqua's eye just immediately turns back. Anyhow, I think I covered everything. I just kind of went through the episode. This episode was really, really good. A lot of things to think about, and I think the big juicy bit in this episode is really that ending. What did Akane think about? Was it to my theory on the idea that it's just really the fact that she realized that, yeah, it could be that your father slept with I and Himekawa's mom? Honestly, the idea of Himekawa's father, the one in the pictures, the one that ended himself, that's the one thing that can be replaced by anything. Both the mothers technically can't. They have to birth the child. Anyhow, shockingly, we have still 2 more episodes left in the season. Looking forward to those 2 episodes. It's like, it feels like all the other shows are starting to wrap up, and it's like, wait, Oshinoko's still going? So looking forward to the next episode. Hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave. If you like this content, you want to support more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does. Until next time, y'all take care.